is Aske Standberg. I am from Denmark and I'm studying a Bachelor in Architectural Technology and Construction Management on KIA in Copenhagen. I'm joining you today along with some awesome students from my studies, and we are going to talk a little bit about how we are studying AEC Modern in 2020. So we will touch in on different individual stories from 4 very awesome students. I have with me Alexander from Denmark/Scotland. I have Christoph from Poland, and I have Kalina and also Matilda, also originally from Poland, but right now studying in Barcelona. We're going to touch in on different things. So first off, we're going to speak a little bit about the technical aspects of how you can study AEC in modern ages, and we're going to speak a little later on material and sustainability oriented aspects of the AEC studies. So definitely there is a lot of nice things to touch in on. One thing that I want to say is that today we are representing ourselves as individual KIA students. That doesn't mean that you can't contact us as a team or individually. Please feel free to find us on the social medias, on LinkedIn and so on. If you have great questions, just post them in the chat to Damon, and we will try and do a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. So with all of that being said, I want to thank the mentioned sponsors, and of course you, Damon, and the AEC Hackathon organization for having us and hosting us for the second time. And from there, I want to invite Alexander to join me now to present yourself. Alexander, I know that studying in England and in Denmark gives you a broad range of experiences around how it means to be a student in different places. So welcome, Alex. Join us, please.
Thank you very much, Aske. I'm just quickly going to share my screen here with a few pictures throughout my working career. So if you're seeing this now, just let me know.
Yeah, I see it. So
cool.
A young man from going to the UK's and doing bricks.
Yeah, I'm a brickie by trade. Started out working construction at a fairly young age, and yeah, I've got some great experiences throughout this. The quite oddball in my career in that sense was that right after I finished my apprenticeship, I got offered a project management position in Scotland, renovating a large estate. So these are some pictures from my final exam as a bricklayer, and I'll take you right in through to some of the more interesting stuff. So awesome. You'll see here Balnakeely House, a large estate home that we renovated from scratch. Essentially kept the climate shell and all exteriors, renovated them and gutted the whole house and started from there. So you see a start in the top left and a finished room in the top right. There'll be some other before and after pictures. Then in the bottom, you'll see some of the more industrial work that I've done. One of them is a kiln in Denmark, burning clay aggregates, a really used building material in Denmark, Leka. And in the other picture, you'll see me working on tying a lot of rebar for some very large decks at a hospital. Okay. So I've worked a lot with the hands-on, the trades, and kind of gives me another insight than a regular project manager to the ins and outs of how the work is actually carried out. Because yeah. I mean, when you start it, you work it, you know it, yeah. So here are again some pictures from Scotland. All of this working in the nice weather you see.
It's almost like Denmark. I can imagine that in the States you have a little more sun, guys, but in Denmark it's kind of like this weather at the moment.
It's quite soggy.
So a lot of hardcore hands-on work was kind of your background before you joined the AEC Studies in Denmark, I can see. Yeah.
Indeed it was, and while we're just resting on some of these nice pictures from the finished project, I will quickly talking about when I moved, like when I was in school as a bricklayer, we obviously learned AutoCAD. which was kind of my view into the more modernized way of building and construction. So after I'd finished my bricklayer's education, worked in Scotland for a couple of years, it was kind of the next position was to take a more technical education. So after this, I researched a lot of schools. I really had 4 schools I was looking at, where IKEA, the one we're all attending now, was one of them. I looked at Edinburgh Napier, which is an AEC school in Scotland. It's a really, really nice, but it's in the middle of Edinburgh, co-capital. But they needed a bit more of BIM for my interest. Then up north, you've got Robert Gordon in Aberdeen. It's a really good school with really, really good statistics. It's just very focused on design, and I'm really into the technical solutions and how to actually build stuff. So that needed more technical.
Can I briefly ask you, Alexander? So you have been around on different schools doing different kind of educations, different places. What do you feel like is the major differences from what you have already experienced in the UK to what you're experiencing in Denmark? Is there a big difference on the approach to the educational system?
There really is. In Denmark, we have obviously a lot of group work, which is also present in Scotland and England, but in a different way. In Denmark, you're very much supposed to figure stuff out yourself, and your lectures are more there to kind of say, maybe you should research that a wee bit more, or maybe you should look at this manufacturer. They will guide you, but they won't tell you where to go unless you're proper out there, don't know what you're doing. Then they'll tell you, okay, yeah. So in Denmark, it's very much a self-reliant study that you have to be reliable for your own education, which is, in my mind, a really, really, really good way of learning it. It's how I learned it with project management as well. It was kind of thrown in at the deep end, and then you learn to swim eventually.
It kind of builds your group working skills, I can imagine. Yeah, I feel the same thing. I must say that it's a great thing that we have with the group work. Alexander, amazing pictures. Please carry on with the presentation.
So after having also first gone to Aberdeen to look at this Robert Gordon, I researched a wee bit more. I researched London South Bank University, which is a really, really good school down London way. So obviously quite far from what I wanted to be in Scotland, but it could have been a possibility. But in KEA København, Copenhagen Erhvervsakademi, we've got it's a school that's got some good statistics. It's got a nice mixture of the design and technical education, and it's got a good track record. And I chose the English study because I want to get out of Denmark as well afterwards.
Let's just quickly touch in on that. So you said that you chose the English study. So you have the same education, and you can both do it in Danish and in English. What is that about?
We've got the AEC, the Architectural Technologist course, in both Danish and English. So it's called Bygningskonstruktør in Danish, but it's I see it as slight variations where the English one is opening more possibilities if you want to get out and into the world, because you're taking everything in English. You're studying in how to research in English. Obviously, in Denmark, it would be a lot easier to take it in Danish because all the reading material would be there. I'm sure some of the international friends here could talk more about that. But yeah, there's the two different lines. The international one spoke more to me because it's got more possibilities in my mind. And then I chose KEA, Copenhagen School of Design and Technology, I think our name is. Sorry, I will just quickly talk about, in Scotland we have this hydro scheme, renewable energy and everything. So a water mill that turns out electricity. I forgot I had this slide. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
So back to school. This is me sitting at school. So yeah, me being in school, I really get a buzz without working like with handling the data handling sides of construction. It's really cool for me that we have some definite problems in construction, and I see our solutions to handle this mainly being within our modeling, our information, our data handling, our U-value calculations, our CO2 footprints, and everything. So that's my what I get a buzz out for this education. I also really do enjoy, which is a good thing here at KEA, because you get you kind of expected to do this, that you have to find your different workflows, how you are working with the AEC studies. I also really, I personally get a good buzz out of the sustainable solutions. I know the girls are going to talk more about that.
Yeah, been touching on it. Yes.
In my student jobs, I'm also working with a company that does a lot of solar panels. So that is really cool for me, doing big solar farms and wind farms.
I can see here on the screen that you're showing us a lot of nice Dynamo stuff going on here. I know that you're only second semester. You have practically only been studying for a little more than half a year.
Yes.
Is Dynamo really something that you learn on second semester on KEA, or is it something that you choose to use in your spare time on to develop some new scripts, or what's going on with that?
It was mainly in my spare time. I saw some of the other students showcasing some really amazing ideas and data handling units and everything, and that got me very hooked in that. I mean, there's so many repetitive tasks within our daily lives that the more you can automate these, the better it is. And that's why I also enjoyed some of the more advanced modeling. We use Revit as a tool in KEA, and some of the more advanced families, adaptive families, and all of this. It is not really first or second semester curriculum, but I find it very, very interesting. Although I spend so much time on it, and I probably should spend time on something else as well.
So actually, you're spending a lot of time on stuff that is outside of the curriculum, which I personally think is super awesome. I'm doing the same things, and we are doing it right now, right? Sharing some great knowledge and stories. But I just need to know: do you have a community for working with these more, what could you say, coding related problems, or are you trying to solve only your own group's challenges in the semester, or how is it working?
No, I mean, within KEA, we've got the Dynamo Cafe, where we've got a great network of students working on it. I am personally also attending there myself, and Christoph has also been doing a lot with it. And you have a great support there from the older semesters, like Christoph and Nuhad are our main lads, and they will always help you. Same thing with the BIM Cafe, which you'll have a lot more knowledge about, Aske, but the help that you get from other students at KEA is amazing and such a big help for everyone.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it looks like you've been working with some different scripts doing different things. What can you compose within the Dynamo visual coding universe on a second semester spare time level? Can you tell us a little bit about what have you been building here?
Well, these are just two pictures from our session here the other day that we had about Dynamo, and I personally built a script for Revit project management, so mainly BIM management, setting up view templates, creating all views that you're going to need for a project, having all of this created in an Excel sheet, so it's easily manageable and you can easily filter and sort through it. So I find that is a big strength of a thing like Dynamo, is data handling and data sorting. So basically, the I in BIM, the information part is what I see it as a really strong tool as. There's some cool modelers and some cool showcases from the Dynamo modeling out there, but that is, again, I think it's not my interest, and it's a step above my level just yet. But it's cool that you're talking about this, Aske, because it's really a part of my work philosophy within this, is that I see 12,000 years ago, a farmer having a stone hoe would always take the one up on the tool. So we're using these tools that have been specifically created for some of the most advanced tasks that we can do within construction. And I find the newer tools being so exciting and so interesting. You can to see what people are capable of doing with these tools are truly mind-baffling and amazing to me. So I mean, you know that the farmer would never say no to a tractor that is nowadays when he was living 12,000 years ago. So these modeling tools that we have, I see as the key essential to also tackling a lot of our future problems, being sustainability and everything. And using the argument that sometimes I've heard some architects that I didn't like working with, Michelangelo didn't need this, he just needed pen and paper. And then it was like, oh, well, bugger off, all right. You can create so much more with these. And I think it's, what do you say? It's ignorant to not use what's right at your hand and what you have available to you.
Okay, so these are tools that Kia is providing you. It's not something that you have to bring. Okay, it's right at your hand. You can basically just grab the tool and get started coding.
And that's what university is for, right? It's for learning. It's for trying everything out that you don't know how to do. And I see that as one of the biggest supports that we get at Kia. Also from the other students having, oh, I found this new fancy plugin here, let me show you. And you get that buzz out of showing it and sharing it with your community. I find that really, really cool and interesting.
So, Alex, I only have around a minute left before I'm going to present the speaker. I just want to ask you, Alex, it's obvious that you're on second semester. You are already conducting courses, which is being streamed directly to other students and to people from the industry. And I know that it's quite popular. People are actually finding them very useful, and you're creating some tools in Dynamo that is being used out there widely, both again for students and for the industry. Alex, where is your future? You're a bricklayer from Scotland doing Dynamo in Denmark, enjoying the luxury of having tools by your hand. Are you going to be out in space in 10 years, or are you going to be a bricklayer again? What is going on? Where are we going?
I must say, I do miss some of the days where you could just go and step up to work and take your tool in one hand and the brick in the other hand and then just build something. Whereas in some of these days where you just stare at a computer all day and you say, well, I've done nothing. I enjoy building. I will never stop building, but I do enjoy some of the more complex ideas of construction and of architecture, engineering and construction. The construction part is obviously really, really close to my heart because it's what I've done and I've taken an education for it. But these here technical aspects of it are just, they're what catches me and holds me on and just keeps me going, and why I can spend an all-nighter just playing with one family and one thing in
That's awesome. That's awesome. With parametric families, right? And
all obviously.
That's the next. Alexander, thanks a lot for your interesting story. I know that we're going to see a lot more from you in the future. Already now, to the guys out there in the audience, if you want to speak with a guy who is a talent within the Dynamo area and the visual coding area with already some hands-on experience from the past, please get in touch with Alexander. He will find his LinkedIn links and so on for the ending of this session. So we will have everything for you. And this guy is the go-to guy if you want to speak with somebody who has different kind of educational approaches also. So thank you, Alexander.
Thank you very much for having me, Aske.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's an honor that you joined today. I think it's awesome that we have people from different semesters also. So that's great. Alex, thank you. And the next guy is Krzysztof. Krzysztof, you are from Poland, and you're also studying at the International Bachelor of Architectural Technology and Construction Management in Denmark. You are a little more seasoned. Yeah, I know that you have 5 semesters behind you, so it's almost 2 years. But you also have some great knowledge on both the technical parts and aspects of the education, and as well as also the more artistic parts of the education. Before I let you speak, I just want to say to everybody out there in the audience that this guy, he's drawing amazing drawings. I remember my first weeks at KIA, sitting and looking at some reference drawings from the older semesters, and you would see this guy's second or third semester drawings. Amazing work. Looks like something that I haven't even seen the industry show me yet. So that is exciting. I hope maybe if I'm lucky, you will show something. If not, then I'm just looking forward to your story. So 5th semester on KIA, former educational approach as a concreter. Krzysztof, how is it being on 5th semester at KIA?
It's actually really great. It went really fast to get to the 5th semester. 2 years have gone so fast that I can't even remember most of it. But as a former concreter, even though I do not have as much experience as Alex, I still have managed to get some education before joining KIA. And the difference between the two education is quite huge actually, because coming from my high school, where I've been taught the basics of building construction, everything that we dealt with there was kind of old school in a way that we have calculated everything manually, we have drawn up everything manually. So when I decided to join KIA, even though I could call that I had a bit of a head start in comparison to other students, everything was for me so new, because the level of technology at our program is really big, where everything is conducted digitally from our projects. And this is also one of the things that got me into this education, because I was always struggling whether to choose the building construction or maybe the IT side of the IT field. But in the end, I ended up on the building construction. So this education kind of gave me also a possibility to go into software. So something that I was trying to be before.
So that actually means that with this education, you can either choose to go the more hands-on way, or you can actually choose to go into software development.
From what last session of AEC Hackathon, not the online one, the one that happened at Blockshub in Copenhagen, which I had the pleasure to attend to together with you, Aske. This hackathon showed me that the AEC industry is based on software development at this point. The whole progress of the industry is purely dependent on those people who sit behind the computer and who develop and who makes everything else for the rest easier. I cannot imagine of sitting again with pen and paper to draw everything up or to click everything in software manually. Thanks to those people, we have everything automated. And after this hackathon, I took it as one of my main goals to be able to also develop the same way. Therefore, except for, as Alex before also mentioned, I had a big part with Dynamo. I also decided to take up on myself a bit of coding. So in the future, I'll be able to develop some simple yet effective plugins for me, for my group, and hopefully for my workplace. So definitely, I see a lot of opportunities here to go both ways from this education. And
do you think, Krzysztof, that the days of the manual work you're talking about, doing things on paper with a pen, are they basically almost gone, or will it take some years before the rest of the world realizes how much more effective it is to use automation and such?
I think that nothing will ever remove pen and paper from the building industry, because nothing is better and faster to just sketch your initial ideas on first iteration on the paper with your pen. You're not limited by any software this way. You can just express yourself. So this part will never go away, I think. Whether preparing the drawings for the whole project, for the whole buildings, creating sections and plans and elevation, everything, I think this part is already completely digital, and there's not really need to go back into pen and paper with this one, I think. But definitely to prepare some concept ideas. Of course, architects are artists, and they want to express themselves to draw what they think about, what they have in their mind. So this part will always stay, I think.
So before we heard Alex talking about that one of the major differences in the educational systems was also that in Denmark he's experiencing a lot of group work, and he didn't experience that in the UK. How is it compared to your situation? How does that feel for you?
It's pretty much the same as Alex described Scotland. It's in Poland we have a huge pressure on individuals, not as much as for a group work. Even though I cannot speak for all the universities and all the programs which are, of course, conducted in Poland, but most of it is unfortunately pressurized on those people who work individually. While in Denmark, we have the opportunity to learn how to work in groups, to collaborate together, and that's what is really helpful when we get out of the school and we are forced to work with everybody else to collaborate on that one project. So the differences are really big, and beside that, in Poland, well, in Denmark, I think the education is a bit, at least on the university level, is quite focused on the program that you're learning. So if you're on architectural technology, you learn everything that is related to architectural technology. While in Poland, you learn not only what your program is about, but you also get some general knowledge around your subject. So if I'm correct, then you get to choose some additional side subjects which will go together with the education. So in Poland, you have they are trying to also raise just general level of the knowledge of the young people.
Okay. Would you say that it makes good sense to actually go abroad and do AEC studies? I'm not talking about Denmark in specific here, but does it make sense for you to travel and be a little bit of a nomad going around and picking up knowledge from different places?
Definitely. I have never left my country till I came to Denmark. Denmark was the first country I ever visited. And I have never been more than happy like this to be able to experience completely new culture, completely new people, different environments, people who are coming from different countries together, international. So this is an experience that I would suggest to for everyone to get yourself familiar with, maybe not on the scale of the whole education, or if you still want to stay with your country, but going for an exchange during your education, it's something I think would be quite vital for putting together all the pieces of simply getting yourself comfortable with what other countries also have to offer.
Sounds awesome, Christoph. So this great experience and you have in traveling around and picking up knowledge from different sources. How does that enable you to kind of hack your recent history at Kia? Did you do something different, or did you work with coding also to make it easier for yourself?
How I got to the point where I'm right now, it's started in the beginning of the second semester, basically, together with girls, with Matilda and Kalina, where there was the times where I had to catch up with all the knowledge from first semester. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of hard work put into that semester when we went through it, and when we reached the point of the third semester, in my case, I was approached by one of the teachers to prepare the workshop for you together with one of my classmates, with Yanis. Your class, your semester was the people who received this workshop from us. And this is where it all started, because afterwards I was approached by another teacher who then invited me to the BIM Cafe to help other students, to volunteer there. And from BIM Cafe, it was straight road to pretty much AEC Hackathon and to Dynamo Cafe. So this is all that's kept pushing me. That other people, that other teachers simply spotted my effort in the beginning, and they gave me the opportunity. And after the first opportunity, it just went straight on and on.
So it's a rapid development from, I remember that workshop that you're talking about. I was sitting in my early studies, and I have to learn how to extrude. As far as I remember, I'm extruding a brick modeled in place in Revit, right? We had to do this for some assignment. And then we have these high semester people standing up at the end of the classroom and showing this on a big screen, and it's very fascinating how quickly you could do it. I think it took me 4 hours to make my first brick modeled and extruded in place. So thanks a lot for that learning, Christoph. So being in the position where you are right now, I know you for being also very talented coding visually in Dynamo also, but you also have other talents and you also have other visions, other things that you want to work on. What would you think would be your next project to dig into, your next deep learning experience in the AEC area?
All the time I'm thinking about what I want to write, for example, in the 7th semester physics, and what I keep coming back to is one time from BIM object, I heard this phrase, sustainability through digitalization and digitation, and that is what I actually want to focus on, and something similar that I would want to write about. So I'd love to investigate not only sustainability in the physical form of all types of materials, etc., but I would want to focus on how we can actually help with sustainability through all the software, through all the tools that we have. So how would that affect the initial calculations, for example, and these sorts of things. So my next goal is to definitely try to do some research about this topic.
So you think that in order for us to be more oriented on and focused on sustainability, we actually need to digitize ourselves in our efforts to reach these climate goals and so on that people are talking so much about?
In few sectors, definitely, because computer can make certain predictions for you. It can calculate or make life cycle analysis of the buildings and this type of calculations for you. So it will help to estimate what is better for your building and how it will affect environment. But of course, nothing will also exchange the human thinking of how we can help the environment and what kind of operation we can do to the building to make it more environment friendly. And I know that girls will have a lot to say about sustainability and timber in that matter. So
they will. But before we go to them, Christoph, I just want to ask you two things basically. One is, Christoph, do you think that the industry is doing enough for students studying AEC studies? It could be an engineer study or the bachelor program at KIA. Do the industry do enough for us to be tackling the sustainability challenges? Is it easy for us to use the software provided by the industry to work with more sustainable solutions?
I think part of the industry definitely helps us a lot. Like, for example, Autodesk, who is giving pretty much the whole software licenses for free to students, which helps up education and it means a lot to us. The same with all the 360 that we are given at the school. So I think that the industry, at least a big part of it, tries to help the students because they know that the whole effort that they will put into the students, then the students will give back after they are done with the university and they will come working for them. So I think that yes, the industry is aware of what kind of effect it can have on the students, and that's why I was so happy, for example, during the AEC Hackathon, where everybody was so open when they heard that we are just students and we are not students of PhD, but we are students of bachelor, and they were so open to us, so willingly share their knowledge. And they haven't anyhow underestimated us or try to somehow show that they are a bit further, more experienced people. So in this case, I was extremely happy to see this kind of behavior, and I believe that a big part of industry behaves the same as what we witnessed in Copenhagen at Oxford.
It's a lot of great reflections, and I'm very curious, Christoph, where do you see yourself in five years from now?
Oh, that's a difficult question actually, because I definitely want to work in the building industry, but I am not entirely sure whether I'm gonna take a part into designing the building, into solving the building, or whether I will actually follow the idea of developing a software for the building industry. But nonetheless, there will be a huge contact with the building industry and probably the digital part of the industry on my side. So I hope that everything will go as planned, and we'll see which one will be closer to my heart in the end of the education. Because also the internship is coming as a 6th semester, so I believe that a lot of questions will be also answered during the internship.
Of course, and you get to know yourself better inside of the industry directly. Christoph, amazing, and thanks a lot. I remember this clearly. We attended this hackathon in
exactly
at Blogshop, and we were so proud. We only got the small yellow sticker. It means that we are bachelor students, but on our way, right? So I remember this experience. It was nice being on a team with you, and you definitely have a lot of great capabilities and skills that you can use in the future. I'm looking forward to see you in a senior position after graduating as a senior student on KIA. So thank you a lot, and guys in the audience, if you want to get in touch with Christoph, he will also post his or show his link. Maybe I'm going to collect all of the links actually and show them in a slide at the end of this show. But thanks a lot, Christoph, for having.
Thank you, Aske, for having me.
You're welcome. With that, we are changing to our next two fellow students. They're going to present together. It's Matilda and Kalina. Right now, they are located in Barcelona, where they are doing an exchange, in fact, which is quite interesting because both of them is also from Poland. So they do the, you could say, multiple exchange program thing, where they go from Poland to Denmark and then to Barcelona. That's quite interesting. We're going to speak with these two girls who's joining us today about their approaches to their studies, and also about their, as I like to call it, timber adventure, because these girls has been working a lot with timber in the last semester and is actually quite good at that. So with that being said, Matilda and Kalina, are you here?
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having us.
How are we doing?
Very good. And as you said, it's pretty interesting to be on an exchange from an exchange, and it's actually very interesting to hear your guys' experiences at KIA. Some of you we know, and it's really interesting to see how many different directions we go into from our studies. And
I think that's thanks to that KIA gives us the space to explore a lot, and we can choose which direction we want to go. And actually, I think all of you guys are part of Beam Cafe. We are not. And we were like on the other side. We were the people who would go there and gain
like a huge problem.
Yeah, like gain knowledge from you. And that's why
you as rescue.
That's why we were able to develop this project last semester so well, because of the help from Beam Cafe and because of this space of exchanging knowledge, which now we know this like cooperation culture is not common everywhere, having that comparison with education here.
And
so also just quickly, girls, for the people in the audience who don't know about BIM Cafe, BIM Cafe is also a small organization of students on KIA actually helping other students out. So what our role would be is that if people like our two friends in Barcelona here, they are joining us with difficult questions about how to construct something or how to make a nice rendering or whatever it could be. Maybe we have the solution, maybe not. If we don't have the solution, we'll make our best efforts to find it. And that's also how we are hacking our daily lives at KIA. So back to you, girls.
And another thing that I realized during actually hearing to your conversations was that both of us, we spoke about it, that as we first started at KIA, we were just straight out of high school. And a lot of people in the class had previous experience as concreters or bricklayers or had previous studies in architecture and construction. So we both felt that we need to catch up in a way. And that made us ask a lot of questions. Krzysztof might confirm that we as a group, in our group, were always the ones to be like, yeah, but how do you actually do it? Like, how is it constructed? Like, because we felt that our technical knowledge back then, like, wasn't there. We were both from different high school. Mine was like a very pretty much artistic education, or also mathematics, and Matilda also had a different type of high school. So that made us feel we have need of answers and research, and that really helped us to develop projects like the one that you mentioned, which is like a mass timber office building that we worked in 4th semester, and had a great opportunity of participating in Build in Wood 2020 in Denmark, and being surrounded by so many professionals, as our group of students who presented the project were the only students there, professionals, and also the industry, the energy, where the main architect of Copenhagen introduced like a new regulation that was just posted, that just got an information about it, how people got so happy about new possibilities of building in timber. It was just a really great experience for us.
People like knowing that timber is basically future of the construction and how many possibilities it gives us. And it was very inspiring experience and flattering that they found our work from university interesting.
Yeah, so I have been looking a little bit at your work, but also just from my perspective, I don't know your project that well. Although what I have seen, also with the Build in Wood stuff that you did, this conference in Copenhagen at Dokken, as far as I remember, right? In Nordhavn. Yeah. I've just seen a glimpse of what you have produced already, but it looks amazing and quite inspiring, of course. I think one of the most important reasons that your story was very, very important also to bring today is because we're talking about sustainability, and we're talking about some of the future ways of actually coping with all of these climate crises. So why is it important to build with timber?
Well,
there are so many things that you
said. Yeah, but what I really want to say is that being able to work with BIM and Revit was actually the thing that pushed us to analyze it more deeply and being able to prove why the timber construction made more sense than concrete. Actually, maybe let's talk more about this project itself, because
so first you will show a few slides and then we can talk about the advantages.
Because it's a project that it's a PLH Architects project, and it is a multi-story timber office building. Can you see it?
Yeah, we see it now.
The original concept was actually built in concrete, and then it was a task of the whole 4th semester of our architectural technology to redesign the building and use timber technology.
Yeah, and so we were able to. Okay,
a little technical.
So thanks to being able to work with BIM and Revit, we created those models, 1 architectural and 2 structural models, 1 in timber, 1 in concrete, 1 HVAC, and then we were able to compare those 2, timber and concrete, in terms of CO2 embedded carbon, thanks to schedules, basically.
And creating Revit families that include the embodied carbon in the Revit families and all the structural elements. And of course, the calculation that we did was just an example, because we only did it for the structural parts of the building, and also we used values that will be different for each type of timber, because one thing is that, of course, timber, as the tree grows, is going to absorb CO2, but another thing is if you bring timber from abroad, maybe the CO2 produced by the cars, for instance, wood from the coal, it will not be the same. So of course, this is more to show the methodology behind. Now with BIM, we can actually show it in a model.
Yeah. So, and also the structural model, we could analyze it with robots,
which is I think a great tool for technologists to make just initial, once we have the concept, to make initial structural analysis, so that there are less errors once the engineers are also involved.
Yeah.
So that's also a big part of it, being able to analyze those materials that you're actually going to use. Makes it easier for you to experiment and to use new materials that is also new to the industry, I guess, yeah.
And to early in the project realize that, okay, like this solution is not possible, for instance.
So yeah, we were just, thanks to our lectures, we were able to develop some good technical details and connections, and just like comprehending that we can build multi-story buildings with timber, and it's doable and it's good. That was very good.
Now, why timber is more sustainable than concrete? Then for me, the most convincing element of it is that we cannot take out any more limestone of our earth, not only because we just do not have more that we can take out, and also lime is a big part of concrete mixture, and burning limestone to create lime, it's 8% of all the CO2 emissions that our population is making, which is huge. It's more than all cars and ships combined. So that's a no in terms of global warming, but also wood makes it the construction very flexible in terms of modular building, and also it can make it way quicker than, for instance, concrete construction. So these are like the three main goals that I think are pretty important. But of course, we are students and we still learn, and we can still question.
To ask you about that, seen from a student's perspective, what are the industry waiting for? I know that this is a big question, and many companies are trying to push the timber revolution of the industry and so on, but yet some companies and some places, some countries chooses to focus infrastructure, for example, on heavy concreting. So what are people waiting for?
I would say a lot of people are afraid of the cost that can be seen as, I mean, it might be higher in a lot of cases if you just compare the cost itself. For instance, not the quality of the building or the lifetime of the building. Like there are like many factors affecting it, but also building regulations.
And construction industry is pretty conservative, and people like what they know and they're sure of. And as much as at KIA, we were like pushed and motivated to work with timber, and like it was we got a lot of help, a lot of inspiration to do it. Here, when we actually got to work with concepts and we thought about using timber in our project in La Salle, Barcelona, we were told that some things are not possible, or are you sure about using timber?
They do question.
Yeah, even for us, it was obvious that okay, but that's the direction we're going, right?
It's definitely different here, and as Matilda said, it's we were pushed to use it. That was our task. Everyone did in fourth semester. Whereas I know students from few semesters back, like people who just finished Kia, for instance, they have never worked with timber at Kia. So I think it's a great time that we're studying, that we have that opportunity. And yes, definitely here at La Salle in Barcelona, it's not that obvious. It's not that obvious that we should use timber. And yeah, we got some very weird comments. For instance, cantilever in timber, no, that's not possible. And then we think we just did it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's not exactly what I meant. It's just very complicated,
So you feel like there are some barriers and you need to break down these old big silos of old knowledge, you can say, in order to justify your experimentation with the timber.
Also, I think the thing about exchange, and this is something we learned being international students, think about exchange is exchange both ways. We're not only here to gain knowledge from them, but also to give something we learned at Kia. That's what exchange is for, and this is how we understand it, and that's what we're trying to do. And there are definitely a lot of differences between educational systems, but there's also a lot to gain from it and a lot to give, and that's what we want to do here.
Definitely. For instance,
so it's also a question about bringing some new knowledge back. So you come to Barcelona and that you get some maybe some people will not be as flexible, you could call it, and now you're building up the knowledge on how to break down those barriers.
And also something that Kia is teaching us is how to give our knowledge. Like that's what Beam Cafe is. That's how cooperation works. Sharing knowledge, how to sell your idea, how to tell other people about your way of doing things, because that's crucial in group work. That's crucial in this exchanging knowledge part.
I think the first time when we saw the power of working in groups and also in international groups was actually when we went to Waterford for a BIM workshop
to Ireland.
And we could definitely feel, as much as everyone was so talented in BIM, that a lot of people have never experienced working in groups.
Okay, yeah.
And that's it's very interesting to see, because we just do it every day, and it seems so scary in first semester, but now it's like a habit. Whereas the same in Barcelona, and what we felt in Ireland was that it is such an important part of it, as Christoph mentioned. Then we are going into the industry, and that's what we're gonna do, right?
Does it also kind of train you into, you just mentioned going into the industry after you finished your studies? Maybe you're not, you're working together right now, but maybe in the future, one is going to Brazil to make something in timber, one is going to China to make something in timber. Would it be easier for you to find new teams and new cultures because you have this experience already studying abroad in more than one country, both in Denmark and in Barcelona? And London?
I would definitely say so. I can see it not only in our case, but in terms of our teammates and classmates back in Denmark, that there's just another level of communication. But of course, that's something everyone will learn at some point. But I think it's just so important to include that aspect in the education. And another cultural difference that I would just want to mention that we noticed between Denmark and Spain is that back in Denmark, we are constantly asked to discuss things, but not only with classmates, but also with your lecturers and teachers. And so we have a big habit of just questioning everything they say, or saying, do you think so? Like, maybe this is not the best idea. But when we try to do it here, it's not it's not welcome.
I can imagine.
But we'll keep doing it.
We will.
Girls keep doing it. It's super inspiring also to hear your nice stories in Barcelona. Before we end the discussion, I want to ask you guys, where are you heading? So Matilda, starting with you, what is your dream? 5-10 years from now, what are you doing? Are you maybe in China or Brazil, or are you staying in Barcelona?
Well, maybe, but I think I'm not gonna push any limitations on myself right now. I think after all of those experiences and like realizing things can change so quickly, and I can't preview a lot of things. I'm just gonna, I'll go somewhere, but I'm not gonna push any limitations on myself now.
Are you going to dig into studying more heavily in timber? Are you writing a PhD on timber, or would you want to work at an architect's office? What is the goal, maybe?
Well, I think a lot of things will be cleared out after internship, because next semester is our internship, and after I will be able to try myself working in real life situation on real project, then a lot of things will be more clear for me.
Of course.
But timber is definitely very, very big part of the future, and my future, I hope, as well.
Kalina, and the same question goes for you.
I went into my imagination.
That's what happened when we created. Yeah, no problem.
Like for me, sustainable architecture, or rather just architecture, because I think architecture nowadays should be sustainable, and we shouldn't use that word to describe it. But anyway, I am a huge passionate of timber, which Krzysztof knows as well, because he always makes jokes about it back in first semester. And I know I want to work with it for sure. So maybe in 5 years, I'll be living somewhere at the end of the world and working online on projects of mass timber, something like that. But also, we never know.
We never know.
Just a quick question on that. There's a Danish architecture company that is going to build some stuff on the moon, I've heard. Does timber work in space?
We will make it work. I don't think they use timber in that project, no.
Okay.
Not yet.
It's not, it's not a local material there.
No, it's not. They
I don't know.
They don't produce it there.
I'm only third semester. I can ask the stupid questions, right? It's awesome being around senior students with a lot more knowledge, and it's very easy to tell that the development is super rapid in our studies. What I think is most exciting is that you can actually go into the studies with different backgrounds. As I also mentioned at the last online hackathon, my background is in the hospitality and service industry. That's something completely different. I spent a lot of years doing management of restaurants or nightclubs and stuff like that. Now I'm studying sustainable solutions in the building industry and the AEC tools and stuff like that.
It's more relevant than you think, probably.
Yeah, it is, and that is what kind of taking me along, because I can really see that with these tools that we are being taught to use, we have some capabilities that spans beyond our own understanding of who we are and what we are capable of. So we actually not just learn to build houses, but also to change the future for ourselves and the people coming after us, the next generations. That is nice, and that is kind of inspiring, I think. So I can see girls and Christoph and Alex, I can see that our time is almost up now. I don't have much more. I think inside of this session, we are not too many people. It's going to be streamed externally. So the Q&A session could go around us. If you guys have some question for each other, please state them now. If not, I'm quickly going to write in the chat here. I'm going to do like this, and we have a lot of good links to the participators' LinkedIn profiles and such. If you can't access that, I will just see if I'm able to share my very low-tech version. Girls, do you see my screen here?
No.
You see it here? It's a very...
No, we're not seeing anything, Aske.
You're not seeing anything. No, maybe it won't.
I will drop these links if y'all are okay with it into the YouTube description.
It is awesome, Damon. I think that is what we have for now. Damon, it was a pleasure for us to join you guys, and it was very nice for me to hear my fellow students' stories. I'm hoping that we will see you also participating in this hackathon coming up next year. If you're in Denmark, I don't know if you're staying in Spain, what's going to happen, but let's see. So Damon, I will give the word to you, and thanks for having us.